Okay, dinghy is there. This rope is pretty slack today. Hopefully everything goes smooth. Ready for this? Clear on blue. Curtis reeling in the blue line there. Most of the wind is coming northwest, so shouldn't be any pressure on that line anyway. This is gonna be getting green undone and then reeling in the anchor before we start to move around, and there's quite a bit of kelp. You like me to help this around the tree? Okay. Ready?
Okay, ready?
Okay. Good, you're still slightly to the left. Well guys, we've got all kinds of charts. We've got navionics, iSailor, we've got radar, and we've got satellite going on so that we can find our way in this uncharted territory. Woo!
I think we're gonna get rained on. It's coming.
Oh yeah.
Okay guys, we are headed to the next portion of our journey, which takes us into the Strait of Magellan. But first, we have to go through a small pass here called Paso Shag and go around Isla Wet after departing from Nutland. I am not joking you. Those are the real names. We need to hit a current window through here. We've got to hit it at just after high tide so the water is slack and nice and flat. Otherwise, there can be up to 6 or 8 knots of current here, and it can be a very dangerous place to navigate. So we think we've got it spot on. It's about 3:20 right now, and we're about 40 minutes away. So we're gonna nail this right at the time, and then get through and head to a nice safe anchorage, because we've got a lot of weather supposed to be coming in tomorrow. So we've got sails down right now. It wasn't very windy coming out of the anchorage. We tried to sail, and it just wasn't going to give us enough speed because there was only about 2 knots of wind. And now the wind is picking up, but it's pouring rain. So we're going to be safe and just motor through this passage. All right, I've got work to do, so no more talking to the camera.
So we're about to go through Paso Shag, and you can see where the current is really making the water super wonky right here. You probably can't see it as well as I can, but yeah, it is super strange, weird feeling. The boat feels weird. Curtis is adjusting his speed constantly to try and time this up right. I don't know if you can see how narrow it is all the way up there. And that's what we want to get through without being pushed into the rocks. So far, boat feels in control. Super pretty in here. Wow. Doing great, babe.
It's looking really good so far. We're right on time. Water's pretty smooth right now, but I can see how if you approach this at the maximum flood or maximum ebb, that this could be really, really turbulent in here. We're just now approaching high tide and slack tide. So if this was at maximum current, this could get a little tricky. Even the Navy ships don't come through here at anything other than high tide slack. So I think we're doing the right thing to be conservative and come through here at the planned time.
Call me out, tiger. Call me out, why don't you love? Lift me up higher above the clouds, won't you love? When the scenery is right, go right in. I wanna fall deeper within. Don't leave me hanging just 'cause I'm too proud. Whisper away my outdated doubt.
Almost 5 knots of current against us right now.
Taking Canal Barbara instead of Canal Magdalena was a shortcut, but one that was uncharted. You could go backwards and follow charted waters, or continue off into the wilderness like we did, but it means going through Paso Shag, where you can expect upwards of 8 knots of current. It can be quite dangerous to make the narrow pass with high southwest winds, and therefore is not recommended in those conditions. High tide slack tide is the only recommended time to make the pass, which only lasts for a few minutes, and can affect the timing of arriving to your Caleta on time. A lot of pre-planning is required when choosing to go this direction, but it is well worth it. Wow, look at all that current!
just got through Paso Shag. There was quite a bit of current in there. We saw almost 5 knots of current, and that was at slack high tide. So now we can really understand why everyone was saying, don't go through there, wait till it's slack tide. Even with a strong engine, 5 knots of current is a lot. And most sailboats don't have as strong of engine as us. We can motor at about 8 to 8.5 knots. So we can overcome a 4 or 5 knot current. But still, it was pushing the boat around, really moving the boat. There were actual real whirlpools that you could see developing there. That was some serious stuff. And we went through it at the suggested time. So take care in that area. But now we are on to the Strait of Magellan, the famous Strait of Magellan. We're really excited about that. This is a really big milestone in our passage here. I don't know what to say. Strait of Magellan, here we come. Let's go. Roxy likes it. Roxy got to see some whales. She saw some seals and a lot of birds, and she did a good job defending the boat, barking at everybody, and making sure that no birds attacked us. Good job, right? Yeah. Good.
No birds attacked us with their poopers.
Yeah. The boat didn't get pooped on. Now it's time for a treat. Right? Should we give you a treat? I think so. Let's go. We are almost to our anchorage. We are cutting it really, really close because it is almost dark. We usually like to get anchored and set at least an hour before sunset, or maybe right at sunset. We're actually pushing it after sunset right now to get to our anchorage. But there's a little surprise here in the Magellan Strait. What is it, Kate?
It's a ship!
Yay! We haven't seen one of those in quite a while, I don't think. Not a big one like that.
We've been out here by ourselves, so it's crazy to see a big old vessel going by.
Other humans! Woo! Okay, I gotta put the phone away while we get ready to anchor.
Yeah.
Here we go.
As we pulled into the anchorage, we noticed an obstruction, so instead of getting in the dinghy, I helped Curtis set the anchor while we reversed into our spot.
Come on here, 2, 1. Okay, now I want you to start pressing the anchor down button for me now, please. Yep, hold it down. 1 more time. You holding it?
I'm holding it.
3.
Okay, stop. Middle, how there goes from there.
Go. 1 more time.
Stop.
Stop. Put the other one on the other cleat there.
Sometimes the fishermen's ropes are blocking the coladas, prohibiting us from getting closer to the protected shore. We have to check the rope to make sure there aren't any weak points or chafing, but it works fine for now while we sort out how to tie our own stern lines. Puffs are rolling off the hills onto the water and we're starting to move around a bit, so we still need to work quickly. While tying a beam to the rope like the fishermen do is tempting, strong west winds abeam are not. So we will trust in our own lines and anchor to set up our tiny home for the night. Since we came in late after timing up the high tide slack tide at Paso Shag, we were extra cautious pulling into the anchorage. With the sun so low, visual navigation was much trickier. Arriving to anchorages in the dark is not advised, not only in uncharted anchorages, but anywhere, since you never know if there will be fishermen's ropes, lots of kelp, or uncharted rocks. The trees, it was time for Roxy to make a quick trip to shore before we turned in for the night. The winds and rain howled throughout the night and into the morning, but what surprised us most the next day was finding the shore ties underwater. Well guys, I'm glad I took Roxy to the beach this morning because we are at max high tide and the beach is completely gone now. There used to be just rocks and rocks and rocks and mussels, and now the trees are underwater. Take a look. Our little land spit where all those rocks I had to climb, all gone. So yeah, it's pretty wild. A little bit of a storm surge in here on this rainy day in Bahia Mussel. The puffs, the willowas, they're starting to lighten up a little bit, and we're feeling pretty good, pretty safe where we are. So that's what's important. All right, I gotta get back to video editing. Whew, here comes a puff. The sun, Roxy! The sun! Yesterday the tide was so high that all of this was underwater. All of this was all gone. Just the tops of these trees were above the water. This whole thing was underwater. We walked all of this just now and the whole thing was underwater. This entire beach, all underwater, all the way up to the edges of these trees here, all underwater. So we think it was maybe a storm surge, but yeah, it looks like the water's gone back out now. We have a little bit of a beach here.